right, let's come into hands and knees real quick. Knees apart, big toes touch, and sit back into child's pose here to begin your practice. Rest your forehead on your mat, extend your arms straight. Let your shoulders relax as you stretch your arms forward to the floor. Big inhale in through your nose, from your belly up into your back. And exhale, you can sigh it out of your mouth if that feels good. Another big inhale here. And exhale. And then just one more big inhale. And exhale. Okay, hands to the floor. And then let's come into rabbit's pose. You're going to take your head in as close to your knees as you can get it and then roll over to the top of your head. I'm using my hands on the mat next to my knees. You could also take your hands back a little farther next to your calves and roll your hips up over your knees. And then roll back to your heels. And again, roll up over your head. Your hips come up over your knees. Use your fingertips on the floor to gently guide. Exhale back into the seated position. Hands on the floor, and then lift your head up off the floor. I'm just staying here in a Vajrasana. I'm going to inhale, open my chest up like a cat-cow. Roll back. Round out your spine. Inhale, roll forward. Open your chest. And again, exhale, round back. Tuck your chin, maybe even come to your fingertips. And inhale. Expand, open, forward. Okay, exhale, round back. And then on your next inhale, pull yourself upright, sitting on your shins, on your feet. Reach your arms up, inhale, in Vajrasana. Exhale, twist right hand to your left thigh. Left arm just stretches out behind you. Keep stretching out through your left fingertips. Use your right hand as a gentle leverage in the twist. Inhale, untwist, reach your arms back up. Exhale, go to the right, left hand on the outside of your right thigh and stretch out through your right hand this time. Keep using that left hand gently as a lever for the twist. Next time you breathe, then inhale back to center, untwist. Reach your arms up, inhale, and exhale. Take your hands out in front of you. Tuck your toes, lift your knees, press up and back, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Lift your heels if you need. You can bend your knees if you'd like. Maybe start to twist a little, bend one knee, keep one leg straight. Find any movement here that helps to settle you in the pose with more comfort and helps to enhance your posture. Make sure you're breathing in and out of your nose, again, pumping that breath in from your belly. And follow the breath for your movement. We're going to step forward in a moment, and it's going to happen on an inhale. So take as many breaths as you need here to get that to partner up. And then look forward, inhale, right foot forward, left knee down. And then I'm going to walk my right foot off to the edge of my mat. So I'm in a lizard lunge, hands inside my right foot. Keep your arms straight here, your palms on the mat, and keep pulling your chest through your shoulders. Stretch back through your left big toe and breathe, opening your chest. And then as you start to exhale, shift your hips back for a wide leg split. So my hands are still inside my right foot. Right foot is just kind of kicked off to the side. And then straightening out the right leg, pull your right toes up. Keep your chest again open through your shoulders. All right, rebend your right knee, tuck your left toes under, and then twist open with your right side. So your left hand stays on the floor, your right hand can come to your right thigh. Keep your left thigh engaged and keep leaning back over your left wrist with your head. And drive down through the center of your right heel. Exhale, release the twist and step back, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Inhale into plank pose. You could take knees down for this first one. Bend your elbows lower down to your hips. Keep your shoulders higher than your elbows though. Point your toes back. Inhale, lift with your back muscles, Cobra, Bhujangasana. And then as you exhale, come back over your knees. You can sit back to child's pose here. Let your forehead rest again. Big breath here, in and out of your nose. Inhale, glide forward, tuck your toes, lift your hips, back to downward facing dog. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Again, we're going to step forward. So you're going to coordinate your breath so that your next inhale, when you're ready, that left foot's going to come forward. And then you're going to heel toe it outside of your left hand. So the left foot is wider than your shoulder. Use your hands on the floor, triceps engaged to press your arms down to press the floor away, and open your chest through your shoulders. Point back through your right big toe and stretch the front of your right hip here. And then when you're going to inhale, open your chest, and then on your next exhale, you're going to move into this half split. So again, your left leg stays out wider than your shoulder, and your hips come back so your right hip is over your right knee. Pull your left toes up and press out through the ball of your left foot. Open your chest so you can breathe up to the tips of your lungs underneath your collarbones. And keep your neck smooth and long. That'll help when you move into the twist to keep that neck lengthened. Right, rebend your left knee, tuck your right toes, and now your right hand stays on the mat under your shoulder. Your left hand can come to your left thigh for a gentle push, but it's not aggressive or forceful. And then again, lengthen out the back of that neck. Lengthen out your spine as you rotate open towards the ceiling. Keep your right thigh engaged. Your right toes are active, pressing your right heel up over the ball of your foot. Okay, let go of that twist. Exhale, step back, downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Lift those sit bones, lift your thigh bones, lift your low back. And then again, inhale. You can come into plank or kneeling plank. Chaturanga, exhale. Point your big toes back. Inhale, Cobra, Bhujangasana. And then again, over your knees, big toes together. Sit back towards your heels with your hips, child's pose. Next inhale, round forward, tuck your toes, lift up, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Feel your thigh bones being driven back by your quads. Okay, walk forward to your hands and forward bend here. You can release your wrists, you can grab your elbows, you can flip your hands up, take any arm variation that works. Maybe even a little sway side to side. Feel your hips stack up over the front of your ankles. So the front ankle creases over the front hip creases. Vice versa. The front hip creases over the front ankle creases. Good. Give yourself a nice knee bend. Reach your arms if you want to reach up, or Urdhva Hastasana, or simply come to standing pose. Samastitihi. Exhale. Take as long as you need here to find your balance in this upright position and get your footing. And then on your next inhale, reach up, Urdhva Hastasana. Forward bend, exhale, Uttanasana. Half lift as you step back with your left knee, inhale, and then reach your arms up, low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, place your palms down on the floor and step back into plank or a kneeling plank. Chaturanga or 8-limb bow with chest and chin coming down. Then slide through to Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Warming up with some sun salutation C, continuing the warm up. Step your left foot forward, right knee down. Sweep up with your next inhale, Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Exhale, place your hands down and step forward with your right foot, Uttanasana. Exhale right into it. Inhale, drive down with your heels, lift from your back, and your head comes up first, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Samastitihi. We'll get the second half of that sun salutation. C, inhale, reach, and exhale, fold. Again, you can take a little half lift here, inhale, but step that right leg back, right knee down, and then on your next inhale, reach up, low lunge. Place your palms down, step back, again, either straight leg plank or knees, chest, chin. You could take Chaturanga, straight leg if you prefer. Inhale, point those toes back, engage your thighs, lift your kneecaps, lift your chest up. Exhale, drop your chin, drop your head, lift your hips. Downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Right foot steps through, left knee down. Inhale, sweep those arms up, sweep your heart up. Low lunge. Exhale, hands down and step forward. Uttanasana. Inhale, press down into your feet, back muscles and head lifts up. Reach up. Exhale, Samastitihi, standing pose. Bend your knees, Utkatasana, fierce pose, and forward bend. Exhale, straighten your legs, Uttanasana. Once your fingertips land, you straighten your legs. Step back, plank pose. Inhale, open your chest, and exhale, lower your belly button, Chaturanga. Inhale into upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Your right foot's going to step forward and your left heel is going to anchor down. So your left toes are at a slight angle here, and then your right toes point straight forward. Reach your arms up, reach your heart up, but sit those hips down by bending the right knee forward. Hands come back to the floor, step back plank pose. Open your chest, Chaturanga, lower your belly button and hips. Inhale, lift your chest and belly button. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, lift up those sit bones, push them up from the front hips. Right heel's going to anchor down this time so your left foot can step forward, and you can do it in the opposite order. Warrior one, reach your arms, bend your left knee. Hands to your mat, step back plank pose. Again, keep your chest open, look forward, Chaturanga. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. When you find your breath here, maybe it's child's pose. You might think that that might be a better idea for you, and please take that and follow that instinct. Wherever you are, breathe from your belly, pumping it in. And control the exhale. When you're breathing in, step or hop forward. Exhale into the forward bend. Next inhale, bend your knees, Utkatasana, fierce pose. Press to straight leg stand, Samastitihi, exhale. Separate your feet about hips width apart and forward bend and slide those hands under your toes, stepping on your palms with the bottoms of your feet. Bend your elbows out away from each other, and then let your back round. Draw your forehead towards your shins and your belly button away from your thighs. Keep pressing into your hands with your feet. And then on your next inhale, release your head up, lift your back up, release the elbow bend, and then take your feet up so you can lift your hands out. Come down to your sit bones, lift your feet, Navasana, boat pose. So use your hands for a soft landing there. You could definitely bend your knees here and assist with your hands. Chest through your shoulders, lengthen your low back. And then Ardha Navasana, come down to your sacrum, chin towards chest, look towards your toes, reach your arms forward, hollow out the front of your body. Thighs are strong. Front core strong. Lift back up. Boat pose. Pariparna Navasana. Another couple rounds of breath here. Good. And then hands down and push up into a squat Malasana, garland pose. Your hands can wrap around behind your knees and the backs of your arms. You can flip your palms up, or you can hug around your heels, around your back with your hands. Do it feels good. Drop your chin. Feel the stretch around the entire spine, up and down. Drop your sit bones. Your heels do not need to be on the floor, but they're heavy. Anchoring towards the floor. All right, and then straighten out your legs as you forward bend. Exhale, Uttanasana. Let's go ahead and step the left foot back and turn that left heel down for a pyramid stretch. So I've stepped back farther than I typically would take pyramid. I want this to be in just a long stretch here. Hands can use blocks. Squeeze your left thigh though, and again, anchored back through that left heel. And the reason I have stepped back long is because we're going to move into triangle next. And so if you can, wiggle that left foot back a little bit longer, even if the left heel has to come off the floor. Then lift up halfway and take your right hand to the floor or block outside of your right leg and lift your left arm straight up over your right arm. If you did lift your left heel, now set it down for Trikonasana since you're opening your torso. Keep driving down through your left heel. And use your right calf muscles to press out through your right big toe. Okay, release your left hand. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold back in. Pyramid stretch. And then we're going to take this into the revolved version of triangle. So it'll be a twist. And if you have a block, it'll be helpful. Left hand on the outside of your right foot on the floor or that block. Bend your right knee as much as you need to place that left hand on the block or the floor. Drive back with your left heel and stretch up with your right arm as you twist your torso, now in a closed twist up towards the ceiling. And then release on your next exhale. Forward bend, pyramid shape, pyramid stretch. Breathe into your back here. And then start to bend your right knee, lower your left knee down, low lunge. Inhale, Anjaneyasana, reach your arms up to the ceiling. Okay, release your hands down to the floor. Step back, plank pose. Inhale, exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Roll over those toes. Lift your sit bones, broaden out your sacrum. Get so much space between your fingers and your sit bones. You can feel so long there. Stretching out with your arms, press your arms forward as you push your triceps. Okay, let's come back up to your hands with your feet. Step or hop forward. Uttanasana, exhale. And then we'll step the right foot and the left foot on those hands again for Padahastasana again. So right into the wrist creases with your toes. Bend your elbows away from each other and let it go. Let your back relax. See if there's a little bit more space here after just opening those hamstrings. All right, and then lift up, inhale, release your hands. Now we'll take the right leg back, the right heel down, and forward fold over your left leg. The pyramid stretch here. So while you're here, it may take a few moments, a couple breaths. Eventually you can work the right heel back a little farther. Press equally into both feet. Engage both thighs. And we'll prepare for Trikonasana. Left hand on the outside of that left foot. And then open from the right ribs. So not from your hips. Keep driving down through your right heel and press your right hand straight up to the ceiling. You can use a block under your left hand if the floor is too far away. So this is the open twist. So you're twisting up towards the ceiling, opening away from the midline. That's your spine. And then we'll take this into the forward fold. Exhale. Reconnect to your right heel if you've kind of lost a little bit of that drive back. And then we'll move this into the twist in the next moment or two. So for that twist, if you have a block, it'll be nice to have on the outside of your left foot for your right hand. Either place your right hand flat on the floor on a block outside of your left foot. And now it's a closed twist because you're crossing the midline up to the ceiling. Stretch your left arm up and drive back through that right heel. Allow your hips to move. If they need to rotate and twist, do not fight them. Let them go. This is from the core. Zip in and up with the back muscles and the core muscles. Okay, release your left hand down. And then again, forward bend over your left leg. And again, we're going to move into that low lunge stretch. So take this to your right toes, lower your right knee down, bend your left knee. Inhale, sweep your arms up, Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Okay, and exhale, release your hands down and step back, plank pose. Inhale, stretch your chest forward. Exhale, lower your belly button. Inhale, point your big toes back and chest forward and up. Exhale, lift your hips. Downward facing dog, press those arms forward. Take another breath or two here, and then we'll move down into child's pose. Notice here if there's any extra space in your hamstrings. Okay, knees to the floor, knees apart, big toes touch, hips to heels, and press your arms forward as you sink down into this, just melting into a nice easy child's pose, Balasana. Let your hips get heavy on your heels, but feel your core still working slightly to help the hips sink. Okay. And come on to your elbows under your shoulders. Interlace your fingers, either headstand or dolphin pose. If you're not practicing Shirshasana headstand, and keep your head off the floor and keep your elbows on the floor for elbow dog. And if you're going to move into headstand, take your feet up to the ceiling. And you could use a wall for a little extra mental support or physical support. Keep pressing down into your elbows and your wrists in either variation. If your head is on the floor, you are using some of those neck muscles to gently press the floor away with your head, but it's not aggressive. Use the legs more to pull some weight up off your neck. Use your core and your back muscles to pull some weight up. I'm going to move into eagle pose in my headstand. This is how I'd like to take my balancing pose today. If you'd prefer to flip to your feet and take Garudasana Eagle, please do. So I'm going to bend my left knee as I wrap my right leg around my left leg. And then I pull both knees down towards the floor. Hips move back slightly, so there's a little bit of a pitch in my back. Keep squeezing your thighs and keep squeezing those knees in towards your belly button. Keep pushing down into your elbows and then release the wrapping. And stretch your legs back up to straight so you can wrap up for the second side. If you're in standing position, add in the arms and remember the same side leg and the arm are the wrappers. So if your right leg is wrapping, your right arm is wrapping. Tap into your core here, the knees, the hamstrings, quads. Good. And then from that eagle leg variation and headstand, straighten your legs back up. Take another breath or two here to feel this balance and just a traditional headstand. And then start to hinge at your hips and lower your feet down towards the floor. And once your feet land, then your knees, and then your hips and your arms relax behind. Child's pose. Let your shoulders relax. I'm going to take rabbit pose again, Shashangasana. This time I'm going to grab my heels and then roll over my head. So it is easier if you can get your head in towards your knees as close as possible. And just feel that stretch in the upper back. You probably felt it from any of those variations of eagle or headstand. So now I've just kind of slyly moved my feet away from each other so I can sit down inside my heels. Virasana, hero pose. Not camel. Camel is next. But here I'm just sitting to get my thighs and my knees on board. And if this is tough, you may choose to simply put a block under your hips and stay here and allow your thighs to open up. Also, feel free to let your knees come out a little bit. I like moving into camel from seated. So I've just taken my hands to my feet and lifted my hips up as I press my femurs forward. In Ustrasana, try to keep your chest lifted. And if your head is going back, you're squeezing the back of your head to the upper back of your chest. So like the back of your heart. And then press down with your shins and your feet. To come out of it, chin to chest first and then sit down. Good. And then I'm going to move into plank pose. Inhale. Side plank. Exhale. Right hand, right foot, or right hand, right knee. Inhale, reach your left hand up. And exhale, drive that right hip down towards the floor, but lift your right outer ankle up away from the floor. Okay, inhale over to plank. Exhale, left hand, left foot. Inhale, reach your arm. And also left knee is a good option. Again, drive that left hip down, lift the outer left ankle bone up. Good, and then inhale over into plank pose. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. I'm going to take my legs wide and roll over to my right. My right arm is stretched straight out to the side. So it's like a half of a T, like a capital T. And then I have my feet on the floor. My knees are up to the ceiling. You can have your knees on the floor. Modify your legs so that doesn't hurt your shoulder. I'm using my left hand also to cup my cheek, pillow my cheek. I'm just feeling a stretch in the front, chest, and anterior fibers of the deltoid muscles, the shoulder muscles. All right, rolling back over to the center. Inhale, cobra. Left hand out to the side. So that was just a quick little get out of that twist, neutralize my spine. And now here you can see my left hand is straight out to the side. It's slightly higher than the shoulder, not much. Both feet can come to the floor, the right foot or no foot. Knees can be curled into the chest, but use your right hand for balance or for a little pillow for your left cheek. And try not to force anything or over twist anything here. And then come back over to your belly, back over through center. Catch yourself with your right hand and your hips. Again, just a quick little inhale, lift up, cobra. And then back up to table so you can cross your ankles and sit back and come into a seated position. A little staff pose here just for a moment. We'll move into a forward bend. Exhale, Paschimottanasana. Soften into this. Have fun with this. We don't need to reach. You don't need to have a flat anything. Knees can be bent. Back is gently rounded. The first 2/3 of this forward bend happens in your hips, and then the last third is in your spine. So let that spine soften and round out over your hips. All right, inhale, come up to seated. And then we'll come down onto a reclining back position. I'm going to take my hands with interlacing and grab the outer edges of my feet for bound angle. Press the knees away, pull shoulders back into the floor. It's a bit of a resistance bound angle on your back. So you're driving those shoulders back and down and pushing your knees away, creating some resistance between your hands and feet. And this is one of my favorite ways to take bound angle. It gives me more space in my hips and for the inner adductors to stretch. All right, so I'm going to take my legs out now in wide angle, still in a reclining position. I'm pulling down with my hands on the bottoms of my feet. Again, keep that spine tall. If your hips need to roll up here, they can roll up so your back can be rounded, but it's not your head and shoulders lifting, it's your hips lifting if you're rounding your spine. You can use your hands on your heels or grab the big toes or your inner ankles, whatever works for you. Good. And then take those feet back up together, knees into chest, bend your knees, and just chill here for a second. Feet on the floor, knees bent, little constructive rest. Stretch out your shoulders. You can see my feet are farther away from my hips than they would typically be in bridge pose. And the knees are not knocking onto each other. They're just free in the air up to the ceiling. The weight of my legs is just kind of dropping down into my feet, the fronts of my heels. Let your inner groin soften here in constructive rest. The inner thigh drops down, the psoas relaxes. And just focusing on your breath, using your breath to relax that front hip area that typically overworks for us in walking and in sitting. And then you're welcome to stay here as long as you'd like, or stretch your legs out into a Shavasana shape, corpse pose. Wherever you find more comfort, move there or stay where you are. Focus on softening your face, your cheeks, your jaw, your hands and your feet, your shoulders and your glutes. And focus on that breath, encouraging and fostering that softness, that spaciousness, and that surrender. Please stay as long as you'd like and as long as you have to rest.